I'm here with Jane Velez-Mitchell, and she's going to give me 5 tips about how to interview people because she's interviewed thousands of them.
Well, yes, I've been a journalist for 40 years, so I've interviewed thousands of people. I could probably tell you all the mistakes I've made because I've made a lot of mistakes, but that's how you learn.
So I'm trying to get the Pope to go vegan for Lent, and I'm going to be interviewing a lot of amazing people. Is there any great advice you could give me?
I would say first, know your subject, know who you're interviewing. Before you go, do some research, go online and find out what their history is, what their interests are, so that you have some information about them. You don't have to start from scratch. The second thing I would say is try to elicit interesting, what they call sound bites. When you hear those sound bites that are like gems, you know it when you hear it. And so you try to elicit that and listen for them, because when you hear that fabulous sentence, you'll know, wow, that's a winner. I want to use that. What elicits those fabulous sentences? They always say the stupidest question is, how do you feel? But in a way, it's the smartest question, because we want to get the feelings of these people out. We want to know what's happening inside them. Your job as a journalist is to find out what's happening inside the person you're interviewing, and often those are feelings. Another important thing is to pause and wait for an answer. Don't try to fill in the silence. The silence is golden. Sometimes you can stop that moment of truth by jumping in because you're afraid of the silence. So when you ask somebody a question, especially if it's a difficult question or a question where they have to kind of figure out if their values are in line with their actions, and they can't answer right away, just sit. Let them be on the hot seat for a minute. And then when they do say something, chances are it's going to be very real. One of the most important tips is to reveal yourself. If you reveal yourself, you establish a bond, and that encourages the other person to reveal themselves. So you can start by establishing a commonality and finding out what you have in common and expressing something about yourself. Even to the point where if it's somebody famous, I'm a little nervous to meet you because you're such a hero to me. That's gonna make that person feel calm and also know that you're coming from a good place. To be a reporter, you have to be pretty aggressive. That doesn't mean you have to knock people over, but you've got to just take every angle you can to get to that Pope. We know the Pope cares about the poor. We know he is against mindless consumerism. We know he considers himself an environmentalist. So he has all the great values. What we have to do is help the Pope align his actions with his values. And he may just have this missing piece where he hasn't made the connection between the meat on his plate and the suffering of animals. And there's definitely a connection there. So your job, your mission, is to A, get to him in a peaceful, kind, loving way, and then ask him about that disconnect. So here we are. The Pope's right there. What's the question you're going to ask?
I would ask him.
Just look at the Pope right there. He's right there.
So I would ask him if he could
Say,
go vegan.
Your Holiness.
Your Holiness, will you go vegan for Lent? Because you'll be able to help the animals and the environment, and you can save the planet.
What if he doesn't answer?
Then I would wait.
Ask him again. Maybe a little louder. Not yelling, but just a little projecting. If maybe it's going to be hard for him to hear. Try it one more time.
Your Holiness, will you go vegan for Lent because you can save the animals, the planet, and the environment?
I think Genesis is going to do fantastic. She's a pro. And if anybody could convince the Pope to go vegan, it's this young lady right here. I have full confidence in her.